Welcome to this week in the world of wrestling.
Welcome to TWitWoW, the best wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans, by wrestling fans, on the web today. I'm John, that's my cohort and commentary Ashton, and this is our NXT review. And guys, to put it succinctly, what a phenomenal episode tonight. I mean, you had a stupendous championship contest, that being the NXT Women's Championship match between Sasha Banks and Charlotte. You had an exciting debut, particularly for myself here. You got some character progression. I'm very excited to talk about that. I just think this show had everything. I was thoroughly engaged for the entire hour. This is NXT to me at its absolute best. Ashton, what'd you think of it, man?
And to top it all off, 4 matches, not 3.
Yeah.
I'm not quite as excited about the show as you, but that's not to say I'm not excited. I think that everything tonight, it almost felt like they were trying to, like, okay, let's put on the best possible match for John. Like, tonight's equivalent for me would have been like Ty Dillinger winning his first match ever and Buddy Murphy getting a singles match with, like, Tyler Breeze. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of what this match, this whole show kind of felt like for you. I loved this show. I did. It was a great show. It just seems like you're way over the moon about it. I'm at like a solid 8 out of 10. It seems like you'd give it like a 10.
Yeah, like 9.5, 10 for me, definitely.
Yeah.
This just, again, seemed like NXT at its best. It came at you, I think, with everything, and I'm just really excited to talk about it with you. So, with that said, can we get started?
Yeah!
All right, let's get into our first segment, Heat of the Night. And as you can tell, guys, by the intensity in my voice, I got 0 complaints tonight. Again, everything about this show was on point. What about you, Ashton?
I agree.
All right, then. Let's not waste any more time. Let us roll right on through to our NXT review. And I normally don't like taking these risks, Ashton, but am I correct in saying that we opened up with the Jason Jordan tag team matchup?
Yeah, we did.
Yes!
They fought Elias Sampson and Steve Cutler.
Elias Sampson and Steve Cutler. But wait, I didn't mention Jason Jordan's partner. He's ready, willing, and Gable. Oh, yes!
I think John has a new favorite in NXT.
Yes. You bet all of your sweet asses I do. Chad Gable is amazing. But to kind of tone it down a bit, I love.
Why would you do that? You're excited. Be excited.
I love that they came out together, and on a more like serious kind of breaking it down note, I do like, and I'm not going to commit hyperbole, I'm not saying he's the most over thing since sliced bread, but he is starting out with a small bit of fanfare.
And that's because of the hype that they've been doing for him for the last month.
Exactly. People were excited to see him. People were very eager to see Jason Jordan tag him in, and I already like kind of that dichotomy, because Jason Jordan is still that character that's carrying the chip on his shoulder, is very arrogant. Not that Chad Gable isn't arrogant given his promos, but it's in a more likable way. I think it's in that more Kurt Angle, kind of Carlton Banks babyface kind of way when he was kind of breaking out. And that's the comparison.
Chad Gable is that nerd at school where when he acts arrogant, you're proud of him rather than being angry at him.
Exactly.
Because it's like, yeah, you know you're good. Act like it. You're awesome. Stop being so humble. Yeah, be cocky. You deserve it.
Absolutely. And when he got the tag, the mat wrestling he engaged in, my God, people.
I have one word to describe Chad Gable's in-ring prowess. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Transitions.
Yes. Oh my God, dude.
This dude puts the PowerPoint guy at your office to shame.
It really, that was an amazing reference. I'm not even going to top that, but what I will do is say this guy goes from hold to hold like a freaking beast.
You know who his ring work kind of reminded me of, like a poor man's version of a little bit?
Who's that?
Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah, you know what? I think you've got something there, especially after the last PWG show that we watched where he really took it to Roderick Strong.
We need to watch Mystery Vortex 3 when that becomes available. We're going to do live reactions to that, I think.
That sounds amazing to me. Absolutely.
That's the one card a year that PWG doesn't announce a single match or competitor beforehand. People just show up and then they put on a show.
Right, wow. But with Chad Gable, right, here's what I love about this, because they really build this guy. Again, like, I'm not saying he's the next Kurt Angle, because I really hate that stuff, but I have been making a lot of Kurt Angle parallels. When he came to the WWF at the time, it was a big deal. It was a big hullabaloo because, oh, he's the only Olympic gold medalist. You know, he beat Iran for the gold medal in the finals. And with Chad Gable, he was on an Olympic wrestling team. Well, those are pretty big credentials. He goes out there, man, and he proves it with his transitions. Like, I believe it. Normally, I just feel like when they build up a guy, it's like, oh, you're blowing smoke. You're trying to give him this aura of credibility, which I understand. I mean, it's wrestling. You're supposed to do that. But Chad
It's
Gable,
so weird, too, how quickly he's picked up on it, too.
yeah, man.
Because, like, and this is something that a lot of people say. And here's my thing with the whole him and Kurt Angle comparisons. I don't think it's fair to say, oh, this guy is going to be the next that guy. But I still do it not because I actually think that they are going to follow the exact career path, but because they have comparable traits. And I think that applies here. Because Chad Gable has the in-ring technical prowess from the Olympic-style wrestling that he was doing before he came to the WWE. Plus, he has sort of a natural charisma about him that's not super obvious, but you kind of realize it when you see him talk. And he's got a natural confidence, and he's got, it seems to me, like a great sense of humor. Those are all things you could have said about Kurt Angle.
Definitely. And one last note I want to make about Chad Gable before we kind of just, round out the match itself. I have been waiting for a mat wrestler of Chad Gable's prowess forever. Because I feel like, ever since Kurt Angle left, and obviously the whole Benoit
Oh my
trend.
God. Do you know what I just realized?
What's that, bro?
I was getting ready to say, what about that guy that was on NXT a few months ago that you loved so much because he had that one match? And then I realized, yeah, that was Chad Gable.
That was Chad Gable. Because here's the thing. Like,
what about Bronson? Whatever happened to him? James Bronson.
Bronson can come back anytime, and I will be ready to give him my fanfare.
I think he has the same thing that Corey Grave has, where he had to retire because of concussions. I'm not sure. Oh, no, you know what? Now that I think about it, I remember looking it up, and it actually has something to do with his back, not his head.
Oh, man. But I've been waiting for somebody like that forever, because here's the thing. I got excited about Jordan when I heard his credentials, just like I got excited about Swagger when I came in, and they don't really
that's
show
the thing, too, is that I was actually getting ready to say, before we kind of went off on the whole versus Kurt Angle tangent, how weird is it that the two guys that have Olympic experience have transitioned so seamlessly into the WWE, and yet you look at the countless amateur wrestlers that succeeded, did great things in college. Dolph Ziggler won freaking everything at Kent State. Jack Swagger, I don't even know, did he go to Oklahoma?
Yeah, Jack Swagger was Oklahoma, yeah.
3-time All-American. Like, yeah, these guys are amazing athletes, amazing amateur wrestlers, which is the same style that they do in the Olympics. And yet the only two guys that have ever actually made it to the Olympics and been in WWE have transitioned almost seamlessly, whereas the other guys that have been amateur have had amateur excellence but not actually made it to the Olympics. It seems like it takes them a little longer.
Yeah, I like Jack Swagger. I've only been a fan of his for 2 periods. When he first arrived on ECW and when he came back and did that heel run with Zeb Coulter before he screwed it up for himself with the DUI. But like Chad Gable, I feel like he eclipses both of those guys because he does more than waistlock takedowns and this and that. Like, again, transitions. That was the word you used. This guy really does show that technical collegiate prowess where I've been dying to see that from Jordan and Swagger before him. I am so excited about this guy. Oh, my God. I can't.
What's really funny to me is that 4 of the 5 members of Shoot Nation were on TV tonight.
Yeah.
Gable, Jordan, Angelo Dawkins, and Sawyer Fulton were all on TV tonight.
Oh, man. There's kind of a dichotomy going on within me now that we've seen Chad Gable, debut with Jordan, because part of me still really wishes that Shoot Nation would have worked out, and it may still. I mean, you never know with NXT. But if it doesn't, I don't think it's the greatest loss now, because Chad Gable, on his own already, he's got that little bit of fanfare. He's doing the team with Jordan. We don't know how long that's going to last. I'm assuming that they're going to have big success, but, you never know.
And I like the way that they played with this, too, because at first, it almost seemed like we were going to have a face-heel dynamic where Jordan was going to be a douchebag and not want to tag Chad Gable in, basically doing what caused him to break up with Ty Dillinger in the first place. But he, after maybe 2 minutes in the match, very, very little hesitance, and he goes over and tags Gable.
And, to kind of round out the matchup, I like their double team finisher, too. It's simple,
It's
but
so
it looks
basic.
great.
I'm not a fan of it.
You're not a fan. And see, I think I am kind of a fan.
Because to me, it's literally a move that one guy could do, but they're passing somebody from one person to the other. I don't understand why that makes it more effective.
I'll grant you
It's literally
that.
like if you just lift a guy up like Kane style sidewalk slam.
Right.
I guess the only difference between that and this is that Jason Jordan kind of throws the guy up a little further, but it's basically just an elevated sidewalk slam passing the guy from one person to another.
And I was going to say that's probably where they would try and justify the effectiveness is the elevation of the maneuver.
Yeah, I hope that is a signature move of theirs, but the only reason that they won tonight is because they were facing jobbers and they have to invent or innovate and make something more interesting for their finisher against more legitimate tag teams.
Oh, I really want them to mine their moveset out. Bring out as many double team maneuvers as you can. Mine as much as you can together as a team. Because, this was sufficient tonight.
Because you're just such a sucker for tag team wrestling.
I am. I'm a sucker for tag team wrestling, and then you add Chad Gable into the mix, and oh my lord. Guys, the smile didn't come off my face after this debut.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the respect that I have for the NXT locker room and so many of the other segments we got tonight, Chad Gable would have ran away with everything on my end. But
even though you just kind of gave it away, I think I know who your high spot is tonight.
Well, we'll see. But there was so much great stuff that it wasn't a runaway for Chad Gable, but man, did I love this moment. This was amazing.
All right. Up next, we had a little bit of a hype video showing the Raw segment where the NXT women got to debut and show some stuff. That was awesome. And then we go right into our second match of the night. Gotta say, this was the low point of the night for me. Samoa Joe versus Axel Tischer.
Oh, the low point. Were you not able to get into this match? Why was it the low point for you? We'll give you the ball first.
I couldn't get into it, but I just didn't understand what the point was. Like, Samoa Joe has had competitive matches with way higher up on the card guys than this. Why is he randomly going against some jobber we've literally never heard of before?
I can understand where you're
like, this is
from.
Worse than Baron Corbin, because at least when Baron Corbin got through his first program and went back to beating jobbers, that program was only with frickin' Rhino. Samoa Joe's had a program with Kevin Owens. And Finn Balor, technically.
Yeah.
And Rhino. Like, I guess I just don't get why now all of a sudden he has this program with Kevin Owens, the frickin' champ, and now all of a sudden he's squashing some random no-name. No disrespect to Axel Tischer. I'm sure that in the future, knowing NXT, he's going to turn into a big deal. But for now, we've never heard of him before, and he didn't put up really any kind of a fight.
No, at best, he only got some uppercuts from what I recollect.
Yeah. And he yelled something, I believe, in German.
Yeah, and then Joe pretty much just manhandled him.
Yeah,
he
didn't even beat him with the Muscle Buster. He went full on TNA 2006 and beat him with the Coquina Clutch.
Yeah, which was very interesting to see that maneuver come back.
Yeah, I didn't think it would be allowed in WWE because it's a choke.
But the perplexing thing here to me is after the match, he calls out Owens. He mouths the words, "Kevin Owens, I'm coming for you." Well, that's interesting considering that Kevin Owens is not only still tied up with Finn Balor by all accounts because he's getting the rematch August 22nd in New York, but, he's pretty much a prominent part of Raw now in this United States Championship program with John Cena. So, how is Samoa Joe going to get his hands on Kevin Owens? How are they going to interweave that with all of Kevin Owens' ongoing feuds? It's been a talking point for Owens for a while now, Ashton, that he's taking on the world. Everybody wants a piece of this man. And while that's great television, and while I still fully entrust Kevin Owens to carry it on his back like only he can, it does leave the problem, like, how are we going to get all these pieces to form that coherent whole? So I'm very curious how that'll be done.
Yeah. That was, like I said, that was my lowest point of the night because after this match, we had an Eva Marie. No! I'm jumping the gun here. Baron Corbin. Oh my God. This was amazing. We had a Baron Corbin segment, and it wasn't even like he wasn't even there. It was a vignette, almost like a Lucha Underground style vignette, video package, whatever you want to call it, where he's talking about 99% of people think that they've accomplished something when they've never really accomplished anything. He shows his 4 conference championship rings that he has from when he was at Michigan State. Talks about, I think it was jiu-jitsu that he conquered or something like that, and like he just keeps going on talking about all these accomplishments that he has. And then you really get the vibe that he's just going full-blown, like, screw the fans, screw everyone, I'm a heel now.
You know something, Ashton? Two things I really wanted to say about this. One, this was my non-match segment of the night.
Yeah, really?
Far.
Even over the Sami Zayn promo?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I'll tell you why. Because the quality of Sami Zayn and all the other stuff, like, I know how good those guys are. And it was great. But I think Baron Corbin needed this so bad.
Really?
Because while I know you and I are big supporters of him,
yeah,
like so many people think that he's one-dimensional, this, that, and the other. The idea that he showed this kind of personality, my favorite line was, you know, these people that think that they deserve something. And, of course, it flashes to Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, Naomi, all those guys who worked in gyms.
It even flashed to Kevin Owens.
That worked in gyms and stadiums that only packed, 50 or so people. They worked for chips and hot dogs. I got checks bigger than they will ever see. I got paid, with rings that have diamonds. Now, here's the thing. The criticism of indie guys isn't exactly new. It goes as far back as when Michael Cole was trolling Daniel Bryan on NXT. But Baron Corbin's delivery was so good on it. Like,
and
again,
I love, too, that he didn't use any specifics as far as his NFL salary goes.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. I having been an NFL fan for going on over a decade now myself, I can tell you the typical, even if he never played a game, the typical practice squad player still makes six figures.
Jesus.
Yeah, so he was probably pulling in anywhere from like $350,000 to $450,000 a year.
And I'm telling you, dude, my favorite line was about the conference championship rings having diamonds in them, and like that's what he is. That's what he's about. Just so good, because to me, Baron Corbin already has a very unique look, and we love the fact that he just bulldozes people. And you and I think one of our best commentaries on Baron Corbin to date is when we kind of likened him to Brock Lesnar in the sense that he's an attraction, or he can be an attraction. But I love now that he's starting to develop this really cocky, confident aura. Not just that I'm this monster, this lone wolf that decides your fate. I'm the agent that decides your fate, which was the closing tattoo that he was getting in the segment. But that he's just got this swagger. Like, I make diamonds, I make big money, and that's what it's about. Just such.
And I just did a Google job. 405,000.
Yeah.
For 1 year. For 1 year.
This was.
He didn't play a single game. He got paid that much money to be a part of the practices every week.
Good God. Like I said, my non-wrestling segment of the night, and I think it was one that he really sorely needed. Not necessarily for you and I, Ashton, because you and I seem to be a part of the minority a lot of times, but I think hopefully for people that have been more critical of Corbin, they can look at this segment honestly and say, you know what, maybe there is a bit more of an upside here, because I dug everything about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, moving on. We do get to Eva Marie. Her music hits, which I didn't even know what her music sounded like, so I had no clue who it was until John told me. She comes out, and she embraces that the crowd hates her, and then she proceeds to tell them that she's excited for tonight's main event, the Women's Championship match, and that, more importantly, and I love that because that's such a heel thing to do, her in-ring debuts next week.
I'm excited, man. I'm keeping such an open mind to this. I've seen the Instagram videos of her training with Kendrick. You and I obviously watched Joel Davis. We've seen a little bit of that as well on that show. Let's see it all come together. I don't know who her opponent's going to be, but, hopefully she works well with them and it's a solid debut. Let's just see what she's got. There's not really much more we can say about this in the time being. I agree with you. The promo seemed to be on point for how succinct it was, and I'm just anxious to get to the debut now and see what she can do.
Absolutely. All right. Now we get to our third match of the night, and if you want to talk about a complete contrast in energy, this is what we're working with, because we go from Eva Marie and her weird, kind of hip-hop EDM, but, slow, kind of boring theme music to Blake and Murphy with their over-the-top, ridiculous wub-wub crazy theme song. I love it.
You know what I love everything about Blake and Murphy, but I think the only thing I may love a little bit more than everything about Blake and Murphy is how much you love Blake and Murphy.
Oh, dude, I've even been saying, I don't know how many of our fans are familiar with Aubrey Sitterson. I would recommend checking him out. He does some great work. But he and Tommaso Ciampa was actually on his show last night. They were talking about Raw, and one of Tommaso Ciampa's points was what makes NXT must see right now. And my immediate thoughts were Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, who's not going to be there for long, but then also Blake and Murphy. And then obviously the biggest one is Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy because they're not on the main roster yet. But Blake and Murphy are must-see in my opinion. I think they might be the most underrated entity in the WWE right now.
It's so dispiriting to me because you know that I keep up with the AV Club regularly in their reviews of Raw and NXT, which
and that woman hates Blake and Murphy.
She does, Latoya
and not
Burks,
even like the good kind of hate where it's like, oh, they're great heels, but like she legitimately doesn't understand why they have a job.
Exactly, and it's so dispiriting because I couldn't be any more polar to her views. I mean, I still love the reviews for the record, and I love that, WWE wrestling, specifically NXT, is getting that kind of attention. But yeah, there is a wide chasm between my opinion and hers because I think Blake and Murphy are so complete, and Alexa Bliss hasn't detracted from it at all. If anything, I think she kind of rounds out the look, especially, how they kind of punctuated their matchup, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, Blake and Murphy, they started as like this jobber team, but with a really cool look and everything, and they seem to, have that symmetry going on and everything, to just such a great team that just understands tag team wrestling, the psychology, how to be heels. I mean, there's really not much to say about this match. The most important point is that Buddy Murphy is working over Sawyer Fulton, and Angelo Dawkins is expecting the tag, and he's close to getting it because Murphy's got Fulton in the front face lock, and Fulton's kind of, I guess, powering through to try and get the tag. But then all the while, Wesley Blake is like, crouching around, walking over to Dawkins' side, and he pulls him off the apron and pretty much face plants him on the apron.
Yep.
Then Murphy takes Fulton back to their corner, tags in Blake. He does the stalling running vertical suplex. And then here is where Blake and Murphy are their absolute best, because I know you pop for this too, because I'm looking at it, and I'm like, wow, Fulton kind of landed in a weird position. That frog splash may look weird, but then I remembered that Wesley Blake can rotate. Yep. And the frog splash is just amazing. And they get the win.
Wesley Blake, underrated. Blake Murphy, criminally underrated.
Exactly.
I love these guys. I feel like Blake Murphy is like, I don't want to say poor man's, I'm just going to say like middle class man's Cesaro.
Yeah.
But I would argue with an even better look.
Yeah. I mean, no argument.
And with a way better accent, because Australian accents are amazing.
Look, I mean, Buddy Murphy is going to go places if he ever does singles, because
when he does singles.
When he does singles. Because, coming from Australia, he's got the accent, which I think is a certain marketability in itself. He's got a great look physically, which I think as a heel, he can, kind of have that self-absorption, like, yeah, I know I look good.
2 years, John. 2 years. We're going to have the first ever Australian faction on NXT. It's going to be Buddy Murphy and then 4 women. Georgia from Tough Enough, Emma, Casey Cassidy, and Jessie McKay.
Very interesting ratio of 1 man to 3 women, but that's
intriguing. Four women.
4 women. Oh, wow, yeah.
Georgia, Emma, Casey, Jessie. Those are the 4
There you go. Yeah. Oh, damn. Well, if it happens, man, I mean, color me intrigued, certainly.
Buddy Murphy, yeah. Buddy Murphy wins the NXT title, and then the 4 women just kind of pass around the women's title.
It's like Sharesies.
Yeah. But, the first ever Freebird Rule singles title.
I know, dude. But then after the match, after Sawyer Fulton's been beaten down, Alexa Bliss is kind of celebrating with her boys, and she's just looking at Angelo Dawkins with disgust, and then she sicks Blake and Murphy on him. They pretty much put the boots to him.
She's just like, get him!
Literally, that's what she said. She gave him the face, points at him, get him!
Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh, God! And then, that's how that happens.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But then I'm going to pass the finish over to Ashton because I can't even put into words, like, I can't even believe they pulled this off and it looked as good as it did.
It looked amazing. Okay, so Blurfy starts attacking Angelo Dawkins. They beat the crap out of him. And at one point, they even look over at Alexa, who's standing on the bottom turnbuckle. And she just like gives them a look like, no, it's not done yet. And they keep beating him up. And when they get done beating him up, he's like over on the opposite corner, basically. And Alexa is just like, okay, fine. If you're not going to beat him up adequately so that he is over here so that I can hit my Sparkle Splash, you're going to help me hit it. And she stands on their hands and then cheerleader style hits the Sparkle Splash out of their hands on Angelo Dawkins. But it's worth noting, before she did, while she was standing in their hands, she said BAMF, which some people might think stands for, John, you want to take this?
Okay, because my mind immediately went to badass motherfucker.
But in this context, it's Blake, Alexa, Murphy factor.
This is the difference in raising children, folks. My mind immediately goes there, and Ashton's the rational one.
No, that when I first saw it, I thought the same thing, but then people on Reddit had to explain it to me, too, so.
Oh, thank God I'm not as smart as I thought I was. Jeez, there's still hope for me, people. There's still
yeah, but I mean, that was like a month or two ago when it first happened.
Oh, wow.
So you're a little behind. But still, yeah. Yeah, we're fine. It was still an amazing Sparkle Splash out of Blake and Murphy's hands.
Yeah, dude, that's what I can't believe. Because, like, I'll admit, when I knew that that's what they were going for, I'm like, well, wait, she's going to stand on the shoulders, right? And then they launch her off their hands, and, like, I got a little nervous at first, but it looks so good in slow motion afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm like, congratulations, guys, you captured the moment. Yep. Because that's what that was about. I love these guys. Any haters... I'm not going to be all crude and be like, oh, your opinion sucks. I mean, obviously I respect all opinions.
If you hate these guys, I hate you.
But I really don't get it. So maybe if anybody in the comments doesn't like Blake and Murphy or Blorfexa just as a trio, come at us. I mean, why don't you like those guys? Because me and Ashton love them, and I just don't see that love going anywhere. So.
Yeah, I mean, I usually don't like asking people why they don't like something, because I always try and argue with them, and it never leads anywhere, because wrestling is an art and everything's subjective.
That is so true.
Alright, yeah, let's move on, though. Up next, Sami Zayn comes out to the ring in an arm sling. He's got the crowd singing, ole, 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 but then he just kind of like puts the mic up to his mouth like he's going to talk, and then they stop, but he doesn't do anything. And then they start the Sami Zayn chants. And then he finally gets the mic and he says, thank you for that, basically. He wants to remind everyone that he hasn't forgotten about them. Talks a little bit about his injury and how 2014 might have been the best year of his career and the way it culminated and everything with him winning the title. And that 2015 was probably the worst, and it wasn't going to get any better because he might not even be back by the end of the year. He talks about how he has goals. One is to find a comfortable position to sleep in. One is to eventually be able to raise his left arm over 90 degrees again. And then he gets a little more serious, and he says that he wants to come back better than ever and win the NXT title. Win what is mine, the NXT championship. And then he talks about Kevin Owens and how nothing is a better motivator than revenge. And that he is coming for Kevin Owens, how the last 12 years of Kevin Owens' career have been linked to him, and the next 12 years will be as well. He's coming for Owens, and I love this promo. This was my personal non-match segment of the night. I loved this.
Great energy from Sami as always.
This was a reminder of how freaking good Sami Zayn is on the mic.
And I feel like people needed it. I needed it. Yeah. I feel like people need it from time to time when some of the greats are on like extended leave due to issues such as this. Yep. So I felt like this was very intelligent usage of Sami Zayn here. Again, I think the only reason it didn't make my cut was, again, like, Sami Zayn is so good, and I love his energy, I love his personality, I love his passion, and that he doesn't sugarcoat anything. Like, I love that he puts on a brave face, yes, but it's never fake. Like, he acknowledged, like, yeah, this year has sucked. This year has really, really sucked. But I'm not going to let it beat me. And that's what a human being does. A true person of strength is not one that never acknowledges that, things suck. I mean, It's one that just goes through it anyway. And that's why I really like Sami Zayn. You know, if it was a John Cena, you'd almost feel like he would try and make it seem like, this isn't wearing me down. I'm just, it's washing off of me, whatever. Sami fully embraces. It has been difficult. It has been trying. I miss this. It's frustrating sitting at home and watching the people that have done injury to you, in this case Kevin Owens, go by and succeed and do their own thing. But I will be back, and I love that commitment, and I love the bond he has with the NXT fans, because it's that bond when he returns, by 2016 sometimes, and again, he said the end of the year is ruled out, it's going to be a huge pop. He may just forego NXT altogether. He may follow Kevin Owens to Raw on one segment. Yeah. I don't know. But whatever it is, like he said, our careers are intertwined. They have been for 12 years, and that's what they're going to be for the next 12 years. And so I just can't wait for Sami to come back and just be better than ever and to reignite this feud with Kevin Owens, because every time they're in the ring, it's quality television.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, definitely. And here's my thing. You said with Kevin Owens, anytime Sami Zayn's in the ring, it's wonderful.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Sami Zayn's one of the best. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I honestly, I think he is the next in that lineage of the sort of Daniel Bryan guy that gets over organically and becomes the top star overnight kind of guy.
I would agree with that. I think all the pieces are there, dude. It's just a matter of Sami Zayn running with it, which he will, and more importantly, WWE hearing it and picking up on it.
Yeah.
So both of those things have to come together. I'm more confident in the former than in the latter, but we'll see what happens. I just want to see him back and just kick Kevin Owens' ass. So let's get there.
Absolutely. All right. Up next, we get a recap of last week's Diva match where Sasha agreed to defend her title against Charlotte tonight. And then we go to backstage where we see Charlotte jumping rope, preparing for the match. And between this and the match itself, we kick over to a recap of Finn Balor and Kevin Owens in Japan. Balor winning the title, and then we get the footage of the Comic-Con press conference where we had William Regal, Kevin Owens, Charlotte, Sami Zayn, and Finn Balor. And William Regal announces that the rematch between Balor and Owens will be at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn on Saturday. I can't emphasize that enough. Saturday, August 22nd. And it will be live on the WWE Network.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing rematch. Ashton, I think I said on our Raw Twitter, I made mention that we watched the whole Comic-Con, panel, and it was just a great showing. I liked how Kevin Owens and Finn Balor hyped it up, especially Kevin Owens, because here's the thing about Finn Balor. It's not that he's bad on the mic or bad at talking by any means, but Kevin Owens is just next level.
Yep.
Kevin Owens could sell me on anything. And no wonder this guy has been entrusted with multiple feuds, because, again, just this show alone, he's got a rematch with Finn Balor August 22nd, which, again, as Ashton emphasized, is a Saturday, which is going to be very interesting. Samoa Joe called him out tonight, so that beef isn't over. Sami Zayn, again, he even said, you're intertwined with me. You're stuck with me. If there's one person Kevin Owens will never get rid of, it is Sami Zayn. What else? Hideo Itami probably still thinks that Owens ran him down, despite Owens' adamant refusal, So, everybody's gunning for him, and he's just handling it with all the stride in the world. I love it. I love it so much.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, man. What came after this?
The main event.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Dude. What can you say, really? These women brought it yet again. You, I think, said earlier in the show when we were watching it together, that match is going to be the main event. And then I think I just said, as it should, just with all that energy. And, because you and I know, the women kill it here. They always have. And I have confidence that they will continue to, despite the departures that we've had recently. Yep. Which, again, seems to be another contrary opinion if you look around on the internet. But I'm an eternal optimist, I guess.
Hey, look, all I'm saying is I believe not only in that NXT system where people like Sarah Amato is there to train them, but specifically in the talents that they just brought in. Jessie McKay, Casey Cassidy. I think those girls have potential at the yin yang, and I think that they're going to do great things.
Absolutely, man. I completely agree. I put my trust and faith in those women. And again, in the broader context, as you said, in the system as a whole. But focusing on these two women now, I love the pacing of this. I love the energy of this. I love that the crowd showed the proper respect. And the crowd was a curious creature as well, because it started out like it was going to be a very pro-Sasha Banks crowd.
Yeah.
But you know a match is great
when they turn the audience.
they turn the audience, and the fanfare was either like totally Charlotte for a good portion of it, but then in like other parts completely divided, and then back to like it was just vacillating wildly, and that's when you have a great matchup. These women tore the house down. They don't even do lockups like normal people.
Yep.
Like, they did a lockup, they took it to the ground, and neither one of them would relent, and I like that because I think, I may be reading too much into this, mind you, but I think psychologically if one person relented on the lockup, that would be them saying, I'm inferior to you, which is just completely antithetical to the personalities of Sasha and Charlotte.
I don't see it that way, but I think that that's how they see it, and that's why they did that.
Right. Charlotte looked great in the opening minutes, so much so I was even getting ready to remark to you, wow, dude, are they going to, like, show this match where Sasha is off her game? But thank goodness I didn't, because I would have spoke too soon, because then there was one point that Charlotte was going to go for, like, a shoulder thrust, like, on the apron, like, thrust in the gut, and Sasha got the knee.
Yep.
And that's when she took control. She did the knees in the corner that I love. And let me just say this, because I think I've been meaning to remark this for a while about Sasha. I don't know if I have already. If I haven't, I'm going to do it now. If I have, I apologize for being repetitious. But the way Sasha Banks works a straitjacket hold is a thing of beauty, man.
Mm-hmm.
A thing
She's
of
been doing
freaking
that for over a year.
I know,
maybe
I
even
know.
more than 1 year.
I know, and like I've been wanting to remark on it this long, but she's just so amazing and everything else. It's always something that like gets lost in the shuffle. But yeah, like I love that it isn't even like just a setup to the bank statement or anything like that.
Yep.
It's just like a hold that wears people down. Hell,
And the
even
crazy thing is, it kind of is a setup, because if you think about it, the bank statement cranks on your back and neck, and what does that straitjacket do?
Exactly.
It wears down the back and neck. Yeah, it's so perfect, and it fits with her entire thing, and it fits, first of all, with her character, because she's in control. She just has you exactly where she wants you. It's extremely hard hold to get out of, and it fits in with her offensive repertoire as a wrestler, because it weakens the part of the other person's body that her submission goes after.
Exactly. I mean, it's psychology at that level that made the same AV Club reviewer that we were talking about earlier with the hatred for Blake and Murphy come out and concede, you know what, Sami Zayn isn't the best wrestler in the world, Sasha Banks is. Like, her psychology is so on point, it's ridiculous. And how she carries herself is just amazing. And yet she's working over Charlotte relentlessly. But what I love about Charlotte here, to kind of give her some praise, she doesn't take that crap. She gives it right back to Sasha Banks.
Yep.
My favorite moment in this match was when Sasha was getting frustrated because she couldn't put Charlotte away. And
The
she
slaps.
the slaps, grabbed Charlotte by the face. I'm better than you, Charlotte. I'm better than you. Slap, and then Charlotte just retaliates with all the fire in the world. You know, it's so funny, and maybe I'm kind of overstepping here and, you know, being hyperbolic, but as I'm watching this match, I find it hilarious that Charlotte is the one related to Ric Flair, and I feel like Sasha Banks is just a better heel, like more in line, you know, with that arrogance and everything else, you know, with a Ric Flair than his own daughter. And Charlotte, on the other hand, she just, with her offense, you know, between the power bomb she did, which was amazing, and Sasha sold it like death, the spear, and she did a big boot. I'm like, man, this is like female Batista here, but in the best possible way. Like, the aggression of Charlotte, man. I'm like, damn. Really great stuff from both women. I mean, I'm assuming you took notes, or at least you took mental notes at the very least. So what were some of your highlights from this match?
Oh, I took notes, brother.
Oh, I know you do, man. I count on you to anymore. So what did your notes say?
My favorite spot from this match before it really got kicked into that third or fourth gear, Sasha does her spot where she gets up on the bottom rope and puts her foot in the other person's neck and just like kicks them relentlessly in the neck.
Right.
And Charlotte did a flare flop.
That was so good. And then, I don't know if you caught this, because I noticed, like, you reacted to the Flair flop, but you didn't react to the follow-up, which kind of surprised me. But then Sasha Banks mocks the Flair strut afterwards, and I love that.
Yep.
I love that little follow-up.
And then she hit a lung blower, too. And I was thinking, oh, my God, is she going for the bank statement this early? But Charlotte must have done something that Sasha couldn't roll it over, so she uses it to set up her straitjacket. Like, Sasha tried to roll over into the bank statement. Charlotte countered, but Sasha was just like, okay, you're not going to let me do that? I'm going to do this instead. And she went into a straitjacket.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and then the crazy thing is she transitioned from the straitjacket into a figure four headlock, which is something that Charlotte does all the time. And I don't know if it was actually a figure four headlock, but it was kind of like her version of that. And she does like the woo and everything to go along with it. And Charlotte powered out of it, and like you were saying, she did the kneel down power bomb on Sasha. I thought that was awesome, especially because they even teased a Sasha Hurricane Rana to get out of the power bomb, but Charlotte powered her up again and hit the power bomb on her. Then the whole thing happened with Sasha slapping Charlotte, telling her she's better, and then Charlotte just chop after chop, and then a neck breaker and a big boot. Charlotte just destroyed Sasha then, but it was only a 2 count. And then Sasha acted like she was going to do a figure four. And again, she did the woo and everything. But Charlotte countered, kicked Sasha into the ropes, and then rolled through into a figure four of her own. And in the process, Charlotte's extensions came out.
Yeah, man.
That's how you know this is a freaking fight, when one of the women's extensions come out.
Absolutely. I mean, it was crazy, and I loved it. And you know what, commentary was on point here. It was a figure four. I don't know if they wanted to sell that Charlotte was too exhausted or that Sasha was too resistant to transition into a figure eight. But let me tell you something. Charlotte improvised, because they took it to the outside, and she pretty much did like what you would expect when you do
like a Bret Hart.
Like a Bret Hart figure four, you know, with the ring post.
Not even on the ring post, though, just to the outside.
Exactly.
On the ring apron, yeah, like that was crazy.
Oh my God, it was insanity. But yeah, I mean, she gets back in the ring. Now, you made a prediction that I thought was, I mean, we didn't see it pan out, but I agreed. I mean, we actually thought we were going to see Sasha kick out a natural selection. We didn't even see it come down to natural selection, which kind of surprised me.
Yep.
Because I think she tried to go back to the hold. What was that?
I was just going to say, yeah, like Sasha, once they got back in the ring, Sasha got a bank statement, and Charlotte tried to turn it into like a pinning combination, but Sasha just rolled through and kept it locked in and just cranked on it until Charlotte tapped out.
Yeah. What an effort, because you could see on Charlotte's face like she was spent, and I think Sasha...
And they were so close to the ropes, too.
Like, I even felt like screaming. Like, it wasn't a detraction for the match, mind you. Like, I was so sucked in, I didn't even care. Like, it would be petty to even, like, classify it as a nitpick. But I'm like, use your legs. They're always talking about, like, your flexibility and everything. Your legs are so close to the ropes. Just, like, inch your foot or something. Do something. But no, she taps out, and Sasha retains.
Yep.
And just Sasha looks spent, and she's crying looking at that championship. Charlotte's in the corner recovering, like, knowing the effort she gave.
Charlotte almost had a smile on her face, too. Like, man, I gave it my all, and Sasha's just better than me today.
Exactly. But I love that these two bring the best out of each other consistently.
They do, yeah, and that's the thing, too, is that, like, these two women have had probably 5 15 or longer matches, 15-minute or longer matches over the course of the last, like, I'm going to say year, just to kind of give it a little more cushion just in case. Right. And no two of those matches look the same, and they're all great.
Completely agree. I mean, you know, there's nothing.
I mean, there are some spots that happen in pretty much all the matches, but tonight we didn't see a suicide dive, which we saw in at least 2 or 3 of the other ones. And yeah, I mean, this is the first time that we've ever seen Charlotte have a direct counter to Sasha going from the lung blower to the bank statement. And Sasha used that to turn it into a straitjacket.
Right.
So just all around great stuff from these women. They're amazing, and I'm looking forward to them getting just as much time on the main roster.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't given up on that dream.
That's
Absolutely right. Not, because those women haven't given up on that dream.
Yep.
And we're not abandoning them, not until this war's just fully over. And speaking of wars being over, when this war concluded, the finish was just so emotionally charged. Crowd showing their respect. Charlotte crying, Sasha having tears in her eyes and a smile on her face. They have an embrace, and it's just beautiful to see because they know the match they put on. They know how much, time and work they've put in. And to main event and to be at the level they're at and to have the segment they had on Raw and just everything, even though obviously this occurred, before that.
Yeah, but you know what? I feel like the reason that they delayed the women coming up to the main roster until this week was because of this match.
Yeah.
Because
definitely.
this match kind of it almost felt like Sasha and Charlotte's going away party.
I would agree with that. Yeah, absolutely. And what a going away party it was. I mean, they tore the house down. It was a great matchup, and just that tearful embrace at the end, it hit me hard. I'm not going to say that I got tears in my eyes, but I was close. You look at that and you're like, man, that's what it's all about. And then the affection and respect they have for each other. They know what they built in NXT. I hope they can build it on the main roster. I'm confident they can build it on the main roster because nobody's going to want to go for a snack break when they're putting in work like that. No freaking way.
Yep.
So, great job, girls. Absolutely amazing, and I loved it. Loved every second of it.
And yeah. All right. I guess we can move on to our next segment then. How do you think?
All right, yeah. High spots and low shots. I'm going to say that my low shot is you know what? I'm going to say Charlotte. She had a really competitive effort, but in the end, after all the game planning, after having a dominant few opening minutes in the match, she falls to the bank statement and loses by submission. I mean, there's no better way to concede to somebody that they are superior than by submission, and Charlotte just had to give it to Sasha on this night. But it's a low shot with all the affection in the world, and I mean that sincerely. So.
Absolutely. I understand that fully. I get it. Makes sense to me. My low shot is just for simplicity's sake, Axel Tischer, because he had his first match on NXT television tonight and he got absolutely dominated.
Yeah, I mean, completely straightforward, and like you, I totally understand it. Honorary high spot, Chad Gable. I had to. I love the debut. I love that he's already got a small amount of fanfare, and the guy, I mean, I knew this from his first matchup, and it just got confirmed here, and now I'll get to see it on a more regular basis. Like Ashton said, transitions. That's how I'm going to know Chad Gable from now on, transitions. But for my real high spot, may surprise some people, I got to go Baron Corbin for me. Didn't appear on the show, didn't do anything like that, but I think he had a segment that he really needed. I think he had a segment that really made him have more of a presence than what people are used to. And I love this personality from Corbin. I think this is the first real character progression I have seen him have in some time, and I'm just really excited where it will lead when you have a vignette that has images of him pretty much calling out Sami Zayn, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, just all the indie guys. Where is this going to go for Baron Corbin? Only time will tell, but yeah, great night because I think this just injects a whole new life in Baron Corbin that he needed. So that's why he's my high spot.
I dig it, brother. I dig it. Such a shame that Chad Gable is going to go another week without being anyone's high spot.
I know, man. I know.
Because my high spot is Banff.
Yeah, buddy.
Blake, Alexa, Murphy factor. I freaking love these three. Specifically, I love Blake and Murphy, but I absolutely love Alexa Bliss as a heel. We knew she'd be way more compelling as a heel, and it happened, and it's working, and we were right.
I know, right?
She's such a great bitch.
It's so true, too.
It's amazing. And Blake and Murphy are just such amazing college frat boy wannabes. And it's just so perfect. I love it so much.
Dude, they're a great package.
I've described them this way before, and I'm going to keep saying it until somebody picks up on it. Blake and Murphy are lame soccer dads that think they're really cool frat boys.
And there you go. I mean, how are you going to top that, people? I'm certainly not.
No.
But I will say
no
this.
one is. No one is!
Oh, okay. You have it. You have all of it. But, I mean, I will say this. I've said it before and I'll say it again. As much as I love the Vaudevillains and other teams, this is the team you bring up to the main roster next. and I could buy these guys as your next WWE Tag Team Champions with the confusion in the title picture right now. I mean, I'm enjoying their work in NXT, but whenever you want to call these guys up, I won't complain because contrary to seemingly everybody's opinion that's not TWitWoW, these guys are incredible, and they definitely have my utmost respect.
Keep coming to TWitWoW, where we offer breaking news and opinions different from everyone else. All right.
I'm amazed I didn't lose my composure at that. Go me. Do you have anything you want to say about this NXT before I take us home?
It was a lot of fun. Maybe 8.5.
Yeah, man. Just a really
just talking
great
about it. Just talking about it brought it up a half point.
I mean, you could hear my energy throughout the whole review. I still freaking loved it. I love it even more now that we talked about it and really had the conversations out.
Yeah.
But guys, with that said, this has been NXT. This has been TWitWoW, the best
Holy balls
wrestling podcast made for wrestling fans by wrestling fans on the web today. I'm John. Yes.
I was just going to say, guys, just to be clear, we had a big problem trying to watch Lucha Underground this week, so that review is going to be late. Putting up NXT first for the first time in a while. Not because we want to, just because we weren't actually able to watch Lucha Underground yet, and we're still trying to figure that out.
Streamers. I'm John. That's my cohort in commentary, Ashton. Guys, be sure to comment and subscribe on YouTube. What did you think of NXT this week? What did you think of the NXT Women's Championship main event? Do you agree with my optimism and my excitement about Baron Corbin and more importantly, Chad Gable? But I want to focus on Baron Corbin a little bit. I mean, what do you guys think? Because I'm really excited for it. Be sure to take the conversation over to Pweetoff, an amazing pro wrestling group on Facebook who love NXT and the NXT women's division. But
and by the way, do you agree with me that BAMF are a bunch of BAMFs?
Yeah. Answer the man's question. Then take it over to Pweetoff, an amazing pro wrestling group. Again, they love all those guys. But I get it. If you're not a socialite and you think, John, I don't know why you keep pushing me, man. It's awkward. I get it. No pressure. Ashton has made a TWitWoW subreddit. There you can comment on all of our TWitWoW episodes that are Reddit threads, as well as create your own Reddit threads related to pro wrestling to discuss anything your heart desires with Ashton or myself or both of us, because, I mean, the bigger the conversation, the better. Am I right? Of course I am. And we will see you again for our, as Ashton told you guys, Lucha Underground review because of a delay. Also, this Saturday we have Battleground preview and predictions, some very exciting conversations coming your way, and Ring of Honor review. I remembered it. And do you know why I remembered it? Praise be to Adam Cole. So until all of that amazing content comes your way, and of course Sunday, Battleground live reactions this weekend's going to be insane. And then after that, that's right, it doesn't stop, people. It doesn't stop. G1, baby. G1 Climax, New Japan. TWitWoW is getting ready to go to the freaking moon, and we expect each and every one of you there because we freaking love you guys. So until then, again, praise be to Adam Cole, and tune in, and peace out.